Jey Uso has proved to be one of the breakout singles stars in the industry since his match against Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania 40. The 39-year-old marked his first singles title victory recently and has been dominating the entire red brand with his Intercontinental Championship reign. During this week's episode of WWE Raw, Jey Uso came face-to-face with his brother, Jimmy Uso, backstage. With the latter trying to bring Jey back into the Bloodline story, the interaction between both men made headlines all around the globe. However, a WWE Hall of Famer feels it was a mistake. During a recent edition of the Busted Open podcast, Bully Ray addressed the interaction and stated that WWE should have saved it for a future date rather than featuring it on a taped episode of the Red Brand. The Hall of Famer also added that Triple H should have let fans chant for it when both men were in the ring, rather than filming the incident backstage. Survivor Series is around the corner, and WWE is seemingly setting the stage for a Bloodline vs. Bloodline match. The face-to-face interaction between Jimmy and Jey on the Red Brand was a massive tease for a potential reunion between both men. While Jey Uso neglected the idea as of now, he will seemingly make his way back into the faction to take down the new Bloodline. With a lot of anticipation being built for the massive storyline, it will be interesting to see how things pan out for the faction in the future. WWE has always been a complex tapestry of long-term storytelling, shocking twists, and character arcs that rise and fall over time. When handled masterfully, these elements create legendary moments and wrestlers whose legacies endure for generations. One such superstar, Jey Uso, has had a career defined by slow burns and explosive payoffs, particularly in his involvement with the Bloodline storyline that took WWE by storm over the past 2 years. However, a recent move involving Jey Uso on Raw has drawn criticism from some fans and, notably, a WWE Hall of Famer who believes Triple H made a major mistake in rushing a key development in Jey's solo career. The Hall of Famer feels that the decision came too soon and that WWE should have let it build. But what exactly was the mistake? And why does this wrestling legend think that letting things simmer might have been the smarter play? Let's dive into the events on Raw, the broader context of Jey Uso's story, and why pacing matters so much in WWE storytelling, particularly when it comes to a character like Jey Uso. For years, Jey Uso had been part of one of the most successful tag teams in WWE history with his brother, Jimmy Uso. Together, they became multi-time tag team champions, and their bond both as brothers and tag partners made them fan favorites. But things took a sharp turn when Jey got involved in the Bloodline storyline, aligning with Roman Reigns, his cousin, in a family-centric narrative that dominated WWE programming. The Bloodline saga, which also featured Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, saw Jey emerge as a pivotal figure in Roman Reigns' faction. The emotional depth of Jey's character, torn between loyalty to his family and his desire for independence, captivated the WWE Universe. His struggles and eventual rebellion against Reigns were a slow burn, built meticulously over months, culminating in a dramatic showdown at SummerSlam 2023. But after a fallout with Roman and Jimmy, Jey quit WWE in a storyline move, only to be brought back by Cody Rhodes to Raw as a solo competitor, a moment that was supposed to signify the next chapter in Jey's career. On the September 4, 2023 episode of Raw, Jey Uso made his dramatic return, with many expecting his singles run to be a slow ascent, gradually building momentum as a top solo star. But that's where things got complicated. The WWE Universe saw some quick developments that raised eyebrows, especially when it came to how fast alliances and tensions developed between Jey and other Raw superstars, including Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. This rapid pace of storytelling has left some fans feeling conflicted, and one WWE Hall of Famer has voiced the strongest criticism of all. This WWE Hall of Famer who has remained anonymous in initial reports but is known to have deep roots in WWE's old-school philosophy of storytelling, criticized how quickly Jey Uso's Raw run was escalated. According to this Hall of Famer, Triple H, who is now leading WWE's creative direction, should have allowed Jey's story to develop more organically rather than rushing into rivalries and potential alliances so soon after his debut on the brand. In a candid interview on a wrestling podcast, the Hall of Famer expressed disappointment with the pacing of Jey's current trajectory on Raw. What made Jey's rise in the Bloodline storyline so special was the time it took. You felt every emotion, every conflict. That's what makes fans care, and that's what brings real, lasting success, the Hall of Famer said. But now, I'm seeing them throw Jey into situations too quickly. I get that they're trying to establish him as a solo star, but you've got to let it breathe. The concern here is not just about Jey Uso, but about WWE's larger trend of accelerating storylines that would benefit from a slower burn. Jey is one of those guys who thrives on emotional depth. If you rush that, you risk undermining the very thing that made him special in the first place, the Hall of Famer continued. They should have let him find his footing, let the fans get invested in his journey on Raw before pushing him into big angles. The Hall of Famer's comments suggest that Jey Uso's current run on Raw could have benefited from a more deliberate build-up, similar to how his role in the Bloodline evolved over time. One of the most powerful aspects of professional wrestling, especially in WWE, is its ability to create long-term emotional investment in its characters. Some of WWE's most iconic storylines, such as The Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin's rise, and even the recent Bloodline saga, were successful because they took months, or even years, to fully unfold. Fans don't just remember the big matches, they remember the journey that led to them. The Bloodline storyline, in particular, exemplifies how slow-burn storytelling can pay off. Jey Uso's character arc, from loyal cousin to rebellious challenger to Roman Reigns, played out over the course of more than 2 years. The patience WWE showed in allowing that story to develop allowed fans to emotionally invest in Jey's struggle, his inner conflict, and the eventual fallout between him, Roman, and his brother, Jimmy. By rushing Jey's solo journey on Raw, WWE risks losing the emotional connection that fans have with his character. The key to his success in the Bloodline was the depth and complexity of his relationships, particularly the familial tension with Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso. Without that gradual development, WWE may fail to replicate the same emotional stakes on Raw. The concern expressed by the Hall of Famer points to a larger issue that WWE has faced in the past, rushing storylines in a way that causes them to fizzle out before they've truly reached their potential. Many fans still recall how certain feuds, like Finn Balor's Demon character versus Bray Wyatt, were rushed and ultimately failed to live up to the hype due to a lack of pacing. Even in more recent years, storylines involving superstars like Braun Strowman and Ronda Rousey were pushed too quickly, leading to missed opportunities and disappointed fans. With Jey Uso, the stakes are particularly high because of the momentum he carries from the Bloodline storyline. WWE has a chance to turn Jey into a true singles megastar, but it requires the right approach. Throwing him into rapid-fire feuds without giving fans time to adjust to his new role as a solo act could backfire, causing his character to lose the depth that made him so compelling in the first place.